Greetings friends and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's match, the Imperial Knights are playing Noble Lance. They are led by Canis Rex and bringing 4 Helverins, 5 Warglaves, a Calidus Assassin, a squad of Battle Sisters split into 2 squads of 5 because they are riding in an Immolator. John is in the building today with his Death Guard and he's playing the Champions of Contagion detachment. He's bringing Typhus, 2 Biologus Putrifiers, and 2 Malignant Plague Casters attached to a 10-man squad of Plague Marines, both squads riding in their own Rhinos, 2 Mower drones, 2 Launcher drones, a Blight Hauler, 2x3 DeathShroud Terminators, each being led by a Lord of Contagions, and 3x10 Pox Walkers. For today's battle, we're playing Mission Lima, which is Take and Hold. Mission rule is Hidden Supplies, and deployment is Search and Destroy. It's top of round 1 and Death Guard are going first. They will draw Recover Assets and Secure No Man's Land as their secondaries for the turn. They have selected -1 toughness for the entirety of the game, and Contagion for the round is -1 to hit. Start of the movement phase and the Rhino will advance towards the natural expansion. Mower drone is going to push forward 1 inch off the wall. Pox Walkers are going to move into the building but remain on both objectives. Second Mower drone is going to move forward and join the Pox Walkers on the objective. The 2 Bloat drones will reposition inside the building to stage for next turn. Blight Hauler is going to remain inside the building but move out of the way for the Rhino to push forward. That is going to end the turn for the Death Guard. They will score 5 points for Secure No Man's Land and Recover Assets is ongoing. Bottom of round 1 and the Imperial Knights will draw Secure No Man's Land and Overwhelming Force as their secondaries for the turn. Start of the command phase, Sisters of Battle will sticky the home objective. Start of the movement phase and the Immolator is going to push towards the natural expansion. Sister squad inside will disembark onto the objective. Warglaive is going to move into the building to get line of sight on both the Pox Walkers and the Bloat drone but attempt to stay out of contagion. Helverin is going to move wholly within the building and onto the point. Warglaive is going to advance to also get on the objective behind cover because they don't see the Helverin living very long. Helverin slides down the edge to stage for next turn. Canis will inch forward, staying out of line of sight. Before Canis makes his move, the second Warglaive will advance to also get behind the building. Green Armiger will move in to reinforce the gold. Legion Helverin will reposition to get line of sight down the center of the field. Start of the shooting phase and the Helverin will fire into the Mower drone, doing exactly enough to take it down. Warglaive into the Pox Walkers and it fries 2 of them. It's charge o'clock and the Warglaive will make its charge into the backside of the Pox Walkers, forcing any reactions to it to move away from the center. Warglaive is going to sweep into the Pox Walkers and manages to take down 4 of them. Death Guard will pull bodies to get out of combat. That is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They will score 5 points for Secure No Man's Land, 3 points for Overwhelming Force, and interrupt the Recover Assets by taking down the Mower drone. Top of round 2 for the Death Guard, they have Recover Assets from last turn, which they will ship for new orders, and draw Established Locus and bring it down as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. They'll step away for a second to smash that subscribe button and then they will select the -1 armor save as their contagion for the turn. Start of the movement phase, Pox Walkers are going to push towards the center to score Established Locus. Mower drone is going to reposition to move block the Armigers. The squad of Plague Marines will disembark from the Rhino and move in on the Gold Armiger. Rhino then advances to get around the building for next turn. Second Rhino will advance and make it all the way behind the building and out of line of sight. Blight Hauler will inch forward. Pox Walkers come in from strategic reserves. Because the Gold Warglaive is in Contagion, the DeathShroud Terminators will deep strike in 6 inches away. Typhus will deep strike in front of the Pox Walkers. Start of the shooting phase, the Rhino will fire into the Warglaive. It fails to score a wound, but now gives everything else that shoots at it full rerolls to wound. Plague Marine squad will fire into the same Warglaive. The Plague Caster alone brings him down to just 2 wounds, and the rest of the squad finishes him off. Mower drone will make the dual charge into both Warglaive and a Helverin, swings into the Helverin, knocking off 2 wounds. Both Armigers will crack back, leaving the Mower drone at 6 wounds remaining. That is going to end the turn for the Death Guard. They will score 2 points for Established Locus and 2 points for Bring It Down. Calidus Assassin will bamf out. Bottom of round 2 for the Imperial Knights, they will draw Engage on all fronts and Sabotage as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives and will score 15 points on primary. Sisters of Battle will sticky the second objective. Green Armiger will move forward towards the natural expansion to keep the Death Guard where they are. Plague Marines will spend a CP to fire Overwatch and successfully knock off 6 wounds. Helvern is going to position itself to have line of sight next turn. Red Glaive will push towards the outside but remain out of line of sight. Sisters will spread out to screen out the backfield. Canis Rex will move entirely in the building to get line of sight but maintain cover. Immolator is going to begin to move around towards the outside of the building to prep to strip cover next turn. Helvern will move forward to further push out the Deep Strike. Calidus is going to return behind the Warglaves to potentially Vec that gaggle next turn. Knights are going to spend a command point on Squire's duty, targeting the Plague Marines. Start of the shooting phase, the Warglaive in combat will fire into the Bloat Drone, and Melta does the trick, taking it down. The drone does explode though, dealing mortals across the board. Helvern will suffer 2 mortals, taking it down to 8. Purple Warglaive takes 3, down to 9. The Immolator will suffer 3 mortals, going down to 9 as well. Oof. Helvern, that is now out of combat, will fire into the remaining Pox Walkers and cleans them up. Legion Helvern will fire into the Plague Marines, managing to only pick up a single model. In an attempt to slow the Death Guard down, the Green Warglaive will fire into the Rhino and absolutely obliterates it. It does explode. DeathShroud take a single mortal. Plague Marines suffer 3 mortals. Plague Marines that had to emergency disembark lose 2 bodies. Warglaive is going to elect not to charge and remain in place, so that is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They'll score 2 points for Engage on all fronts, and the Death Guard allowed them to go ahead and score Sabotage for 3 points. Top of round 3, and the Death Guard will draw Area Denial and Assassination, which they'll shift for new orders, drawing Marked for Death as their secondaries for the turn. They select -1 to hit as their Contagion for the turn. They control 3 objectives and will score 15 points on primary. Marked for Death targets are the 2 squads of Sisters and the Calidus Assassin. Start of the movement phase, and Typhus is going to get line of sight on the Green Warglaive. Pox Walkers are going to jump in the building and reinforce the objective. Plague Marine Squad is going to move towards the Rhino and jump in it. Rhino is then going to move forward and stage for next turn. DeathShroud are going to go after the Green Warglaive. Plague Marines move on to the center objective, staying off the template so they are unable to be shot. Blight Hauler is ready to melt some faces and pushes forward. Bloat Drone is going to follow it in right behind it. Lastly, the second squad of DeathShroud will deep strike in 6 inches away from the Green Warglaive. Start of the shooting phase, Typhus will attempt to fire his mine bullets at the Warglaive, but unfortunately blows his own brains out, suffering 3 mortals. Rhino with the Plague Caster firing out of the firing deck will absolutely obliterate the Warglaive. Blight Hauler is up next and will split fire, sending its rockets into the Helvern, failing to score a wound, and the Meltas into the Helvern on the center of the field, but it rolls boxcars on the saves. Bloat Drone into the Helvern and knocks off 2 more wounds. It's down to 6. That will end the turn for the Death Guard. They will score 2 points for Area Denial and discard Marked for Death for a command point. At the end of the turn, the Calidus Assassin will get picked up. Bottom of round 3 for the Imperial Knights, they will draw behind enemy lines and extend battle lines as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives and will score 15 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and Knights will deploy the Helvern from strategic reserves behind enemy lines right away so they don't forget. It does have line of sight on Typhus. Red Warglaive will move so it's within Melta range of the Blight Hauler. Death Guard will spend a command point to fire Overwatch with the Blight Hauler, but unfortunately it fails to score a wound. Second Warglaive is going to just barely peek around the corner to get line of sight on the Bloat Drone. Sisters of Battle are going to move close to the Immolator and hop on in. In what might be too cheeky of a play, the Helvern will push up an inch off the wall to potentially move block the Plague Marines. Second Helvern will follow suit on the opposite wall, ensuring that the Plague Marines cannot travel in between the two or engage them through the wall. Immolator will do a minor reposition to touch the third objective. No longer having to worry about a screen, the sisters on the back objective will advance to push towards the center of the field. Warglaive will move out from behind the buildings to get line of sight down the center of the field. With a loose screen in place, and I do mean loose, Canis will break through the wall of the stage for next turn. He does fail his Battle Shock test. Neon Helverin will continue to slide along the edge of the board. Start of the shooting phase, and Knights will spend a command point on Squire's duty, targeting the Bloat Drone. Lone Helverin opens fire on Typhus, attempting to knock down the Warlord, but a command reroll means he lives. Red Warglaive into the Blight Hauler, and it absolutely pops off, taking the machine down. Neon Helverin into the Bloat Drone, and it picks it up. Boneglaive fires into the Rhino, and even outside of melter range still takes it down, but it does not explode. Plague Marines only lose a single model on the way out. Nearby Helverin will open fire on the Plague Marines, picking up 2 of them. Canis will fire into the same squad using low intensity on the las cannon. In response, Death Guards are going to spend a command point to raise their toughness up to 8, and Canis will fail to take down a single one. That is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They will score 3 points for behind enemy lines and 5 points for extend battle lines. Top of round 4 for the Death Guard, they will draw Cleanse and Defend Stronghold as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives and will score 15 points on primary. Typhus is out for revenge and moves in on the Helverin. Plague Marines move within charging distance of the Helverin. DeathShroud are going after the same target. Plague Marines are going to do a slight reposition, remaining an inch off the wall and out of line of sight. Pox Walkers will move to lock down the Helverin. Start of the shooting phase, Typhus will vomit on the Helverin, taking it down to 11. Plague Marines will fire into the same Helverin and manage to plink off another wound. Plaguecaster and the Plague Marines will fire into the Helverin near the point, bringing it down to 7 wounds. DeathShroud fire into the same Armiger and knock off 2 more. DeathShroud fire into the same Armiger and bring it down to 4 wounds remaining. Bloat Drone into the Helverin and takes it down to 4. It's charge o'clock, and the Pox Walkers will make their charge into the Helverin with a 9. Terminators charge the nearby Helverin, and they're in. Plague Marines will achieve the dual charge into both Helverins. Pox Walkers swing into the Helverin. It survives at 2. The Crackback picks up a Walker. DeathShroud into the Helverin, and they easily take it down. It does explode though. 2 mortals take down a wounded DeathShroud. Plague Marines take 1, and the other Helverin takes 1 as well. Plague Marines have absolutely no problem picking up the Helverin. They will consolidate back onto the point and in cover. That is going to end the turn for the Death Guard. They will score 2 points for cleansing with the Pox Walkers, and they go ahead and score Defend Stronghold since the Helverin is locked up. Bottom of round 4 for the Imperial Knights, they will draw Area Denial and immediately cycle it away with New Orders, drawing Cleanse and No Prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives and will score 15 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Red Warglaive will threaten the Death Guard home objective. Neon Armiger will continue its trend and move up the edge of the board. Second Warglaive follows the pack, heading towards the DG home objective. Battle Sisters will attempt to advance, but not having the necessary movement to appropriately move block, they instead move as far away from DG as possible. Boneglaive decides to get aggressive and will push towards both the DeathShroud and the Plague Marines. Death Guard spend a command point to fire Overwatch with the Plague Marines and manage to score 2 wounds, leaving the Warglaive at 10. Battle Sisters are going to disembark to be able to get back on the point for Cleanse. Canis is going to risk it for the biscuit and pushes towards the DeathShroud. Calidus Assassin will arrive behind Canis, ensuring that she's able to vect both the Plague Marines and the DeathShroud to deny the heroic intervention. Knights will spend a command point to Squire's duty the Plague Marines on the center objective. Helverin into the Plague Marines, and down go 2 of them. Helverin will split fire out of combat, sending the Stubber into the Pox Walkers and the autocannons into Typhus, and finally takes the Warlord down. Grey Warglaive into the Plague Marines takes down 1 of them. Red Glaive fires into the same squad and picks up another model. Canis will fire high intensity into the wounded Plague Marine squad and manages to pick up the final Marine, splitting off the 2 characters. Final Warglaive will fire into the Plaguecaster. Death Guard will spend their final command point to go to ground, but it fails to keep the character alive. Calidus will fire into the DeathShroud, but no joy. Warglaive needs a 9 into the Biologus and fails with a 3. Canis will make the easy charge into the DeathShroud. Knights will spend a command point to tank shock here, but only scores 2 mortals. Freedom's Hand does its thing and takes down both the DeathShroud and the Lord of Contagion even through the Feel No Pains. It does stand back up though at the end of the phase. That is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They will score 4 points for cleansing 2 objectives and 5 points for no prisoners. Top of round 5 for the Death Guard, and they will draw Extend Battle Lines and Storm Hostile Objective as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives, but will only score 10 points on primary, maxing it out. Our players decide to talk it out from here, as they will already score the 5 points for Extend Battle Lines, and the Plague Marines will steal the objective away from the Immolator, scoring Storm Hostile Objective for 4 points. Bottom of round 5, and the Imperial Knights will draw Bring It Down. They will ship it with New Orders, drawing Established Locus and Storm Hostile Objective as their secondaries for the turn. Red Warglaive will establish Locus in the enemy deployment zone for 4 points, and the Grey Warglaive will steal the Death Guard home objective for another 4, and they'll score the final 5 points to max out primary. And that's going to end the game, making the final score with paint 98-85 in favor of the Imperial Knights. Thank you, John, so much for coming out and playing with the new Death Guard Codex. And thank you for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you like what you saw and want to see us continue to improve, by all means, smash that subscribe button and tell a friend. That will do it for today. So until next time, as always, friends, happy gaming.